Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This video is a commentary based on the book authored by Roald Dahl. Chapter 1. Here Comes Charlie. In the first chapter, we meet a young boy named Charlie Bucket. Charlie lives with his parents and 4 grandparents in a small wooden house at the edge of a big city. The house is old and cramped, with only one bed for all 4 grandparents, who are so old they never leave it. Charlie and his parents sleep on mattresses on the floor. Charlie's family is very poor. His father works in a toothpaste factory, screwing the caps onto the tubes, but it doesn't pay much. The family often goes hungry, with only a piece of bread or a boiled potato for dinner. This theme of poverty and resilience is a significant aspect of the story, shaping Charlie's character and his journey. Despite the hardships, Charlie is a bright and cheerful boy. On his way to school every day, he passes by the world's most fantastic chocolate factory. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. It's a colossal building, surrounded by high walls and guarded by big iron gates. The factory is always bustling with activity, and the irresistible smell of chocolate fills the air. As winter approached, the Buckets faced an even harder time. It was cold, and they didn't have enough money for proper heating. But despite the hardships, Charlie remained hopeful. He knew that something extraordinary was about to happen, something that would change his life forever. Little did Charlie know an incredible adventure was just around the corner. Chapter 2. Mr. Willy Wonka's Factory. Every evening, after supper, Charlie would sit with his family and listen to the fascinating stories that Grandpa Joe shared about the incredible Mr. Willy Wonka. Grandpa Joe, who had worked in the factory many years ago, recounted tales of magical inventions and miraculous sweets. According to Grandpa Joe, Mr. Wonka was a true magician with chocolate, creating 200 new kinds of candy bars, each with a different center, each far sweeter, creamier, and more delicious than anything the other chocolate factories could make. He had fantastic inventions, such as chocolate ice cream that stayed cold for hours without being kept in an icebox and never went runny. Charlie listened with wide-eyed wonder, imagining the fantastic creations. Grandpa Joe described marshmallows that tasted of violets, rich caramels that changed color every 10 seconds as they were sucked, and little feathery sweets that melted away deliciously the moment they were placed on the tongue. But the wonders didn't stop there. Mr. Wonka also made chewing gum that never lost its taste and candy balloons that could be blown up to enormous sizes before being popped with a pin and gobbled up. And finally, by a most secret method, Mr. Wonka created lovely bluebird eggs with black spots. When placed in the mouth, the eggs gradually got smaller until nothing was left except a tiny pink, sugary baby bird sitting on the tip of the tongue. He leaned closer as Grandpa Joe finished describing another of Mr. Wonka's incredible inventions. Grandpa Joe whispered about an even more extraordinary tale involving a prince, a palace, and a chocolate masterpiece. Charlie's eyes widened with anticipation as he imagined the wonders of this story yet to be told. Grandpa Joe's smile hinted at the memory of an incredible adventure. He promised Charlie that it was a tale he wouldn't soon forget. The story of Prince Pondicherry and his chocolate palace was about to unfold, setting the stage for even more magical revelations about the mysterious Willy Wonka. Chapter 3. Mr. Wonka and the Indian Prince. Grandpa Joe continued his tale about Mr. Willy Wonka's extraordinary adventures. One of the most fascinating stories was about an Indian prince named Prince Pondicherry. Prince Pondicherry was a very wealthy man who adored chocolate. He heard about a famous chocolatier, Mr. Willy Wonka, who could make the most extraordinary chocolate creations. Eager to have something unique, the prince invited Mr. Wonka to his palace with a special request: Prince Pondicherry asked Mr. Wonka to construct an entire palace made of chocolate. Mr. Wonka, known for his inventive spirit, agreed and began to work on the incredible project. He designed a magnificent palace with chocolate walls, ceilings, and even furniture. Everything was meticulously crafted to be both beautiful and delicious. Prince Pondicherry was delighted with his chocolate palace. It was the most wonderful thing he had ever seen. However, Mr. Wonka cautioned the prince that the palace, being made of chocolate, would not withstand the heat from the sun. Ignoring the warning, the prince decided to live in his chocolate palace. For a while, everything was perfect. As the sun blazed down on the chocolate palace, the inevitable happened. The entire palace began to melt. Chocolate flowed down the walls like a waterfall. The ceilings dripped like rain, and the furniture started losing shape like a candle in the sun. Before long, the palace turned into a sticky, gooey mess. Prince Pondicherry was left in the middle of a chocolate puddle. Realizing too late that Mr. Wonka's warning was true, the grand palace melted away, but the story of its creation lived on and becoming one of Mr. Wonka's most famous tales. And so, the tale of Mr. Willy Wonka and the Indian Prince came to a close, leaving Charlie and his family with even more wonder and amazement. With each story Grandpa Joe shared, the magic of Mr. Wonka's factory grew ever more enchanting. But the adventure doesn't end here. There are still many more incredible stories about Willy Wonka's wondrous creations and the fantastic surprises that await. Stay tuned for the next chapter, where new and extraordinary adventures are just around the corner. Until next time, remember to dream big and keep a little bit of magic in your heart. We'll be back soon to discover even more of the incredible world of Willy Wonka together